Hey guys, welcome to another 2-Minute Tuesday. I'm Brent Hall, and today I'm going to show you a couple different ways to focus blend your images. I'm going to use the drift method. Freaking incredible. Round F16 for that to get that sunburst. Alright, so I've been getting a lot of questions lately on how I made this image here of the super blue blood moon recently, last week. And when I'm telling people, sometimes when I'm telling people that I focus stacked it, people are like, what does that mean and what can you explain that more? So I thought I'd do this tutorial to also go along with the tutorial that I just did last Tuesday on how to shoot the blood moon, or shoot a lunar eclipse basically. So if you haven't seen that and you want to know more about those settings out in the field and stuff like that, you can check here. But in this one I want to go over how I edited this image and a couple of others, and then I figured, well, this is just basically focus stacking, so I'm just going to show you two ways to do focus stacking in Photoshop. So let's jump right into the computer and get started. Alright, so here's the image I was talking about, and this is definitely a focus stacked image because it is impossible to shoot this type of image in camera. It goes against basically the laws of physics of having this focused and then having the moon in focus. But before I get into that, let's show you, because this was a manual focused one, so before I get into this, let's show you the easy way and hope that works for most of your images. So let's look at that. Okay, so here's a series of images that I shot out on some salt flats and somewhere in West Texas, and I wanted this bush in the shot because it's the only thing out there, and then I wanted these beautiful mountains in the shot. You can't really do that, and I'm shooting at 16 millimeters, and even at f/22 at a hyperfocal distance, that's just not enough. So we have to focus stack these. So what we're going to do is we are going to select them all and then just shift click there and select them all. What I normally do is I go ahead and open these up. So I go ahead and open these up in Camera Raw. I go into, and you'll see here, you can hit Control A to select all. So now whatever I do here should do to all of them. And I go ahead and select the enable profile corrections on there, and the remove chromatic aberration, and then have those done to all of them. And then I don't do anything else at this stage. So I'll go ahead and hit done, not cancel or open images. Make sure you hit done. Then I'm going to go back into bridge, and all of that should have been done, applied to all of these images, which it was. So now I'm going to go up here and go to Tools, Photoshop, Load into Photoshop Layers. Alright, once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and shift select all of these to make sure they're all selected, and I'm going to go up to Edit, and I'm just going to go ahead and do Auto Align just in case. I was on a tripod, but you know, for safety's sake, I'm going to go ahead and hit Auto Align to make sure everything's lined up pretty like. Okay, so you can see even though I was on a tripod, it was still off a little bit, so I'll be able to fix that later, but for now I'm going to leave it like that. Then I'm going to go back into Edit, and I'm going to go to Auto Blend, and I'm going to make sure my stack images is selected, and then I just leave this selected. You can go ahead if you want to. We'll see how good of a job it does. See all these this areas in here. Let's see if that fills that in or not. So we'll see what happens, but click OK. Alright, so it's done, and you can see here that it did fill in, and then to get rid of that selection I'm going to hit Control D. So that's going to deselect, and it's looking pretty good. I don't see, sometimes you'll see there is a little bit here on the edges. If we zoom in here, you can see either the fill or the blend didn't do a very good job right in this region, but it's looking like everything else, it did a really great job on this one. Again, over here on the edges, and that is probably from the content aware fill where it amucked itself. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, hit Control 0 to zoom back out, and I'm just going to crop this a little bit. We'll keep it in the original ratio, and I'll just bring this in just a little bit in every direction. Okay, there it is. So now all that's fixed. Everything else looks really great. That was the easy way, and so what you'll see it did is it created a mask for every section throughout the focus stacked images. And so what I did out in the field was I set this up, I put it on manual focus, I focused here, and I took another, and then I took another shot and focused here, and then I focused here, took another shot, and then I focused back here, took another shot, all the way back to these mountains, and then one at infinity just in case. So that's all of those, and it's taking the in focus bits of those images and putting them all together. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select all of these. So I'm going to right click on all of these selected images and I'm going to hit any one of these. So flatten image, merge visible, whatever. It's going to all do the same thing. So now that's all the background. So now I have my clean slate for the image once I've decided that all that looks good. And then what I want to do is I want to keep editing this, if you want to keep editing this, because you notice I didn't do anything in Camera Raw, but I'd like to do stuff in Camera Raw now that I have my single image. So what you can do is hit Control, Shift, and A, and that'll bring up Camera Raw, and then you can start tweaking and do whatever you need to do. Okay, and then once you're done, you just hit OK, and it will update, and bam, there's your image. So that was the easy way for focus stacking. So let's see the manual way. There's if this doesn't work out, or if you have something, an image that's just not feasible, then you can just do it manually. All right, so back in here, here you can see these are the shots that I did. This is out of focus on her, and then focus in here, and then out of focus on her a little bit less, and then on focus here, and then getting closer to all the way to her in focus. And I did this at night, so it was really difficult. I probably could have streamlined it or done a much better job, but it was what it was. So let's do these two. And so let's get this one here and this one. So I'm going to control select those since they're not next to each other, and I'm going to go ahead and open both of them up, and I'm going to do my stuff there. I'm going to do my stuff here that's already done, so I'm going to hit done, and I'm going to go back to bridge, tools, Photoshop, load into layers. So now, because of the time difference, because it took a couple seconds and this is a night sky and everything's moving and the moon was moving and everything, it's not going to look pretty at all. It's not going to work if I try to do the auto blend, and I already know that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to I'm going to switch these ones, and I'm just going to put a mask on that. And to do that, I'm just going to go down here to this little white thingy with the circle in it icon, click that, add layer mask. All right, so now I have all of this in focus, which is what I want, but I want her in focus, so I'm just going to paint with black. And you can hit X on once you can hit B for the brush tool, and then you can hit X to change between your white and black. So paint with black. And then you can hit your bracket tools, your bracket keys to increase the brush size there. And I'm gonna just go with 100% on this. So I'm just gonna paint her in, and I'm just gonna do it real quick, like, and you'll see the ugliness here, but that's okay, because you can fix that. All right, so you see all that ugliness, so I can hit X again to hit white, and then I can refine my brush. Also, I should note, if you go up here and click this little guy, this is your brush tool set thing, I have upped the hardness to about 80% for this so that I can get a little more of a jagged edge. And then you see we're having a little bit of issues with the out of focus areas right there. There's a couple ways you can fix that. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna make our mask. And I'm just gonna go real loose around the edges for right now. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna select this, I'm gonna make a new layer, Control Shift N for new layer. I'm gonna call this clone. I'm gonna hit OK. Now I'm going to come over here to my clone tool, And what I'm going to do is just start cloning this out. So if you hit Alt, hold down and click, that will be your new reference point for the clone stamp tool. I've got it at 35 and crank it up a little higher. So basically, we're just gonna clone stamp that ugly edge out. Alright, and there it is. So that turned out to be a little more difficult than I had hoped, but sometimes that's what you gotta do if you want to get the shot. So that's all I'm gonna go over in this shot for the focus stacking, because there's a lot more stuff that I did to this, including compositing and putting another moon in and stuff like that, where this one was from a better exposure for that. But I just wanted to show the basic methods for image stacking, and that's about as complicated as I'm gonna get right now. All right, let's get back out of this computer. All right, that was it. That was my two methods for how I do focus stacking. Between those two methods, one of them or both of them usually works most of the time. So there's, you know, the easier way, and then hopefully that'll work. But if not, you can do the manual blending like that. And either way, focus stacking is a really powerful creative tool, and it will definitely help you up your creative game and think outside the box a little bit more and push the limits. So hopefully that helped you. If you have any questions about any of the stuff that I just went over or that I didn't go over and you want to know, make sure you leave those in the comments below and I will definitely get back to you. If you want to see more of this stuff, make sure you subscribe to my channel, where there's a new tutorial Tuesday every Tuesday. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.